Have you ever had this happen? Your whole day, your entire mood, just completely torpedoed by one little thing someone said or did? One careless comment, some guy cutting you off in traffic, and bam, your peace of mind is just gone. Well, let's get into this. Because what if I told you that feeling of anger, that simmering rage, actually has a really, really short biological shelf life?
90 seconds. That's it. Neuroscientists have actually measured this. 90 seconds is the entire lifespan of the stress chemicals that physically create the feeling of anger in your body. That rush of heat, the tight jaw, the pounding heart. It's a physiological event that's literally designed to be flushed out of your system in about a minute and a half. So that leads to the big question, right? Why are we still absolutely fuming 20 minutes or, shoot, even 20 hours later?
And that, right there, brings us to this huge fundamental question. If the actual chemical reaction is over and done within 90 seconds, then anything beyond that, well, that's a choice we're making. The source material has this brilliant analogy for it. It's like a smoke alarm going off because you burned some toast. The initial event, the smoke, is gone. But instead of just opening a window, we keep sticking more bread in the toaster, burning it over and over again. And we do this by replaying the story in our heads, right? We rehearse the perfect comeback, we tell ourselves how wrong we were, and we feed that fire long after the original spark is gone.
So, okay, this leads us to the people we think are making us angry. You hear it all the time. Oh, they just know how to push my buttons. But let's really pull that idea apart. Let's deconstruct this whole button pusher myth.
Wow, just let that one sink in for a second. It's such a powerful way to flip the script. We talk about our buttons being pushed like we're some kind of helpless remote control and other people are just pointing and clicking, changing our emotional channels whenever they feel like it. But this quote reminds us, hey, we're the ones who installed those buttons in the first place. The other person doesn't have some magical power over you. They just have a finger, but you're the one who provided the button.
So what's really going on here? Here's the reality check. A button only works if it's wired to something, right? Our emotional buttons are wired directly to our own unhealed stuff. Our past hurts, our insecurities, those times when our core values got trampled on. So when that coworker makes a snide comment that just sets you off, they aren't creating a new wound. Nope. They're just shining a big, bright spotlight on one that was already there, showing you exactly where you might still need to do a little healing. In a weird way, they stop being an enemy and become more of an unwitting diagnostic tool. And here's another layer to this whole thing. Most of the time, what we call anger isn't actually the real emotion. It's what psychologists call a secondary emotion. Think of it like a big, tough-looking security guard. Its job is to show up, look intimidating, and protect something way more soft and vulnerable on the inside. So when your partner forgets your anniversary and you explode in anger, that's the security guard on duty. But what's it protecting? The deeper, primary emotion is probably hurt. It's the feeling of being forgotten or not being a priority. Anger just feels so much safer and more powerful than admitting, hey, that really hurt me.
Okay, so if our reactions aren't just automatic reflexes, how do we actually reclaim our control? Well, this brings us to one of the most powerful ideas out there, something thinkers from ancient Stoics to modern psychologists like Viktor Frankl have all pointed to: the power of the pause.
Between every single trigger, that annoying email, that rude comment, the traffic jam, and your final response, there's a space. It might feel like a split second, a moment most of us don't even notice, but it's there. And that is your choice point. This is your moment of freedom. And that tiny little pause, you get to decide. You can actually ask yourself, what's the response I'm going to be proud of tomorrow? And that one question, man, it changes everything. It transforms you from a pinball just getting knocked around by circumstances into the person actually playing the game. This is your emotional superpower.
So knowing the choice point exists is one thing, but having the actual tools to use it when you're seeing red, that's a whole different ballgame. So let's look at some really practical techniques we can use inside that powerful pause.
The source material gives us this awesome toolkit to work with, but for now, we're going to zoom in on two of the most powerful ones: the reframe revolution, which can completely change how you see difficult people, and the timeout protocol, which is a super simple way to make sure you always respond wisely instead of just reacting emotionally.
Okay, check this out. This is the reframe revolution in action. It's this massive shift from seeing yourself as a victim to seeing yourself as a student. Instead of seeing difficult people as just obstacles, you reframe them as your own personal emotional fitness trainers. Is your boss a micromanager? Or is she giving you a free advanced course in staying cool under pressure? Is your neighbor passive-aggressive? Or is he a real-world lab for you to practice setting clear, healthy boundaries? See what happens? Suddenly, every frustrating thing that happens isn't a personal attack anymore. It's part of the curriculum for your own growth. You're not being persecuted, you're being trained.
Now let's talk about the timeout protocol. And listen, this is not about running away or avoiding a problem. It's the exact opposite. It's a strategic, incredibly mature power move. It's you recognizing, okay, my nervous system is totally flooded right now. If I say something, it's going to be a reaction, not a thoughtful response. Saying, you know what, this is important, but I just need 5 minutes before we continue isn't weakness, that's wisdom. It's choosing to handle the situation skillfully instead of blurting out something in the heat of the moment that could take hours or even days to fix.
But here is the absolute key to all of this. Listening to this, understanding these ideas, that's just the starting line. As the source says, knowledge without practice is just entertainment. The real, lasting change happens when these insights stop being things you know and start becoming your new automatic way of being.
This path to what you might call emotional mastery isn't about some huge, life-altering epiphany. Look at this. The insight, the aha moment, that's only 20%. The other 80% is just small, consistent practice. So don't try to do everything at once. Pick one thing, just one. For the next week, every time you feel that little flash of irritation, just practice being the observer self. Just say to yourself, interesting, I notice anger is showing up. That's it. By creating that tiny little bit of space, you literally start to rewire your brain. Small, consistent actions are what create massive change over time.
And please, remember this. Those people you admire, the ones who seem so unflappable and calm no matter what life throws at them, they weren't born with some special gene for tranquility. They have the same brain chemistry as you and me. The only difference is they have practiced these skills, finding the pause, reframing the story, observing their feelings, so many times that it's become their default setting. It is a learned skill, and it's available to anyone who's willing to put in the reps.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Take a second and really consider it. Imagine a version of you that doesn't get hijacked by a critical comment or a frustrating situation. Imagine your inner peace belongs to you, and you decide who gets access. Who is that person? What could they do? Because everything we've talked about suggests that person isn't some fantasy. They're just a little bit of practice away.